Men, did you ever reach a point where you realized women don't actually make you happy? I, 25 meters, spent years hooking up and have had dozens of partners. What I previously thought would manifest into an insatiable hole of sexual conquest has actually turned into the opposite. I have grown to realize that sex is such a small fraction of my happiness. I used to seek out arm candy and now I don't even bother. What I realized matters is in the heart, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's mostly on the inside of us, in our brains and hearts. Pussy has grown to possess no value to me whatsoever. I actually enjoy friendships with women in my life. I'm thankful for the heartaches and the romances that have passed. Trying to objectify women for years has actually done the complete opposite. The more I met and slept with women, the more I realized that it doesn't matter. Sex is as desirable as eating, sleeping, or shitting. It's great for a few moments and then it ends. It's the life you live before and after that matters. There are many more satisfying things in life, filled with much more substance. So now I am 25 and see that I am a man I would never thought I'd be. Still kinda horny, but with a different perspective. And I'm wondering if anybody can relate. The first rush of testosterone has worn off. This is the stage of life you stop focusing on getting some and start focusing on other things more important to you. Work, career, self-betterment, family, creating a legacy, etc. I am 30 now. Sex is definitely not the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There is much more to life. Well said. Thank you for the reply. Yeah, but I also feel like that's easy to say when you're sexually satisfied. There are lots of men who aren't, and it wrecks their relationships. Yeah, I think this is a lot of it. I have a ridiculously high sex drive. It's very rare for me to feel sexually satisfied. There's always a desire for more sex. Not to the exclusion of other things, of course. But that desire has its own little corner of my brain. I'm definitely one of those. It was special and personal to have sex with someone I love, but I always loved it. There were very few times I didn't want it, but not so much that I would have continued to push if she didn't. I can always masturbate if nothing else. I don't think it was that ruined the relationship. In her words, it was the having not loved me anymore and having fallen in love with a coworker friend since before we were married. I'm 19. I have a question for you though, or anyone reading this can answer too. How can I love myself before being in a relationship? What does that mean? How can I be mentally stable? I've never had a real relationship and I come off as obsessive and needy. What people generally mean by loving yourself before moving someone else is working on establishing yourself as a whole being all on your own so you don't go chasing a relationship just to fill a hole. Learn to be comfortable with your own company. Develop hobbies and interests that inspire you. Decide what your values are as a human being, i.e., kindness, generosity, dependability, resourcefulness, creativity, etc. We all value different things, so try to be a little introspective about what character traits you find admirable in others and work on developing those things in yourself. As you do that, you build self-worth because you begin to see the traits you value being expressed in yourself. Learn to set boundaries. Don't let people make you do things that are counter to your values just to win them or keep them. The people you want in your life should be the people that value you for yourself, so don't try to model yourself into something not genuine and true to you. Obviously, you can't also be an asshole about it. Then, once you have grown those emotional skills and a sense of self-worth, the relationships you attract will be much higher quality and have less drama because you have a solid foundation in yourself and you'll be less at the mercy of trying to please others. If you feel needy, it's because you are trying to use someone or something to fill a void you feel in yourself. You need to unplug more and be comfortable alone and not entertained and distracted so you can have the time and space to figure out what you are missing and fill it. I feel people have become unable to tolerate discomfort because we always have some way to avoid feeling things. Between phones, TV, food, alcohol and drugs, we have a constant source of options to avoid thinking and feeling things, and that's not healthy. You also might try picking up the book, Miracle of Mindfulness, by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's short, you could read it in an afternoon. There is nothing more attractive than being with a person who is capable of being fully present when they are with you, and his teachings help with that. From how you wrote your comment, it sounds like you're looking to validate yourself with a relationship. Like if somebody else doesn't like you, why would you like you? This is backwards. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to think that too. If you were like me, you're obsessing over a relationship and you think that's the thing missing from your life. A relationship isn't going to make you love yourself. Speaking from experience, I had a great partner, we were a great team. And I vividly remember laying in bed with her and still feeling unhappy about my life. My insecurities and weaknesses were still there. Being in a relationship didn't fix everything and make me happy like I thought. I gave up on dating and it's been a hugely positive experience. I focus all of my energy on self-improvement. That's all I do, I fix problems in my life. And my life is massively improved since I started doing this. I genuinely love my life, but it took some work to get here. You come off as obsessive and needy because you're looking for validation. Stop doing that, validate yourself. That's what self-love is. Looking at yourself and seeing value. If you don't think you're valuable, then change yourself so you meet your definition of valuable. No, this is not easy. Yes, it's very much worth it. Nobody else is going to make your life amazing for you. You have to make your own life amazing. I think satisfaction is the word. You should look at your life and think it's pretty good. It is really hard and I'm far from it. I don't think you need it to have a relationship honestly. Growing with someone, discovering parts of yourself and life with someone is important. My partner is the only reason I went back to school. I thought it was impossible, but everything fell into place. He literally changed my life, even if it doesn't work out. So I'd say experiences are important. Don't rest on your laurels. Look for what you think is an ideal. Do you like yourself physically? Can you impress someone? Might it be with drawing, playing music, speaking a foreign language, knowing a lot about a subject you like? Passion is really attractive, but you need to really feel it. The day you're thinking, yes, I would make a good partner and I'm open to whatever. But you can't really hide insecurities and flaws, so working on them and finding what makes you awesome is capital. You're young though and will find that your life can be filled by a lot of things. You don't even know yet what will fascinate you in 5 years, and that's why people are envious of young people. I prefer myself in my 30s though. Life makes more sense and is full of cool stuff now. What about said guys who don't have much sex, or haven't had sex and still see it as the pot of gold at the end of rainbow? I mean, like, that's good that it feels that way to you because of your experiences, but how can I feel that way with the lack of those experiences? I was a late bloomer and lost my virginity at 21, to my beautiful chemistry lab partner turned girlfriend. It was great, and she went out of her way to make it a wonderful experience and night, but I distinctly remember walking back to my car thinking, wow, that's it. Sex got better as I fell in love with her. And it was always something that I enjoyed in the moment. But she and I aren't together anymore, both went to doctoral programs at different schools, and I truthfully would rather jack off than have a random hookup with someone I don't care for. I completely empathize with you in thinking about it constantly when you haven't experienced it. But understand, it's about 10 to 15 minutes of carnal pleasure that truthfully doesn't feel that much different than masturbating even without a condom. And there's a whole other set of things to worry about with another person: performance, not going soft, pleasuring her, finishing, etc., etc., etc. Sex eventually came to me when I stopped worrying about it. When she and I just clicked naturally. Now I've got hundreds of matches on Tinder but haven't gotten laid in months, because I'm too busy with dental school and just don't feel like putting in that effort. I know I'm kind of rambling a bit, but the point I'm trying to make is that sex isn't the end all be all for happiness. If you were to sleep with a beautiful girl right now, I think you'd be amazed at how nondescript the whole experience is. Focus on yourself, and your career, schooling, goals, and I can about guarantee that that will be much more meaningful and satisfying in the long run than random sex ever could be. And in my personal experience, romantic attention and sex often have a way of coming to you when those other things are going well for you. In the meantime, abstain from porn, exercise regularly, and jerk off when needed so the horniness doesn't drive you insane. We're all gonna make it. What I learned was that you can't expect someone else to fill a hole in you. It's not fair to them, that instead of being themselves, they have to fill up something missing in you. What works is when someone adds to your life, and you add to theirs. If you're not happy, and you need them to fill that hole, then you're taking away from them, not adding to them. And you should never want to make your partner less than they are. My wife increases my happiness, but I don't depend on her for all of it. Nobody can carry that burden for someone else. Yes, so true. A good partner is there to positively uplift and make life better. But not all of it. That is on us. This is one of the good things in life. Realizing this and having the potential for a happy life in our own hands. And to not depend on others. Sex is as desirable as eating, sleeping, or shitting. That's kinda the operative phrase right there. Imagine you're on one of those dreadful dead bedroom relationships. Or, if you can't, then imagine going hungry for months at a time or not being able to sleep. It's going to fuck with you. I'm glad you figured out how to treat women as people, but it's also pretty clear to me that you're putting this very nonchalant statement out there about sex and based on, like everything you said, to me this is roughly the equivalent of being in a room full of oxygen and taking breathing for granted. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. None of us could function if we were running around worrying about where our next breath was going to come from, so forgetting about it is probably mentally healthy. That isn't the same thing as it being unimportant though. Oxygen is very fucking important, you just don't really have to think about it much. Likewise, sex is important to basically everyone in a romantic relationship. Whether you have a lot of needs there, or very few. Wanting sex and seeing it as important does not make it impossible or even hard to not objectify women or to have real and meaningful friendships with them. I'm one of the highest sex drive guys I know, and I have numerous long-term friendships with women I have absolutely no sexual interest in. It's not an issue. I guess I'm just not sure what message you're trying to put out there for the community. I feel like you've tried to link sex and objectification of and an inability to have authentic relationships with women, and maybe that's what it looks like from your life and your perspective, but I think you're trying to force a connection that doesn't exist there. You can want and have sexual needs without objectifying or having trouble developing real relationships with women whether or not you're romantically involved with them. They're just people too. I get that you're there now, but I think you see having sexual needs as the enemy. And as a dude that's done this entirely backwards from the way you have, I assure you that they aren't. Well said. Anyone who can say sex isn't important never really thought it was important to begin with. Sure, you don't need it to live, but sure does make living enjoyable. Great if he no longer cares about it, but I wonder what happens when he's with somebody who values sex and he will be the one hurting them by not giving it.